We have another New York Knicks injury update as Tom Thibodeau and Ian Begley have revealed an update on Landry Shamet's injury. Meanwhile, this comes right after Mitchell Robinson got an injury update, and we're going to see how this affects the New York Knicks rotation and their roster and Leon Rose's plans as the trade season is getting underway, and we're going to break it all down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into things as we usually do. And if you guys like the content, make sure to subscribe. 25% of viewers are subscribed. Let's get those numbers up. Also, we're trying to get to 10K before the new year, so make sure to hit the button. But let's talk about the New York Knicks. Here's what we know right now. Landry Shamet is someone who is going to make the New York Knicks roster and rotation, but he dislocated his shoulder towards the end of the preseason. And now we've gotten an update on Shamet and his injury, as Ian Begley revealed that Landry Shamet's now taking contact, so he's getting closer. But just to dive into that a little bit deeper, what we've seen from Landry Shamet is saying the good news is that Landry Shamet is taking contact. He's practicing with the G League team, and Tom Thibodeau said that Shamet is close to returning. Begley still thinks that Landry Shamet is in the Knicks' plans, and he does know that if Shamet can make it back fully healthy, some people believe he could really help the Knicks. So Begley expects the Knicks to sign him if Shamet does come all the way back from his dislocated shoulder injury. Now, I think this is a good idea. Landry Shamet is someone who is very helpful to the Knicks, so hearing that he's taking contact and getting closer to returning is obviously a very good sign. For his career, Shamet averages around 9 points per game and shoots 38% from three. Last season, he shot around 33% from three, though he was over 40% in the corners, and that's where he would be shooting a lot of threes, as the Knicks love to shoot corner threes. But with Landry Shamet, last year the 33% felt like it was more because he was on the Wizards, and Shamet is someone who benefits off being on good teams, not bad teams, because he's just such a key role player to every team that he's on. He hits important shots. He's confident with the ball. He shoots the ball with a quick trigger. So he's really got a very, very good skill set for a role player and for a guy for this New York Knicks bench. The Knicks bench could definitely use a scoring punch, and they could certainly use a guy who can create his own shot. Now, they have that in Deuce McBride, but also having that in Shamet is going to be huge. And Shamet does make this a bit of a thicker rotation. It would definitely turn into a 9-man rotation with Landry Shamet there, with Deuce McBride, Cameron Payne, Landry Shamet, and Precious Achiuwa coming off the bench for the New York Knicks. And obviously, when Mitchell Robinson gets back, another change could be made. Who knows? I mean, there's a world where we'll see the Knicks run a 10-man rotation, hopefully, with the way that Tibbs has been really using an 8-man early into this season. We're now 25 games in. We're still using an 8-man rotation, which is not going to be sustainable. And it's no longer the beginning of the season, guys. We're a third of the way through, and we're still seeing this from Tibbs. I'm definitely a bit worried about this 8-man rotation because I think it'll lead to injuries and fatigue for the playoffs. So hopefully the Knicks do have plans to get rid of that as time goes on and use Shamet if he can be fully healthy. Now, on top of this, Mitchell Robinson, a career 8-8 guy who's a phenomenal rim protector and has always made the New York Knicks better. We're seeing this Shamet news come on the heels of some Mitchell Robinson news. Now, we talked about this before, but just to go over it again, Shams revealed that Mitchell Robinson, as he's told, is unlikely to get cleared to play until at least late January into February, which pushes his timeline back a bit. They need to see whether he comes back and healthy, or if the Knicks are going to have to look at the trade market, whether it's the buyout market or the trade market, and they might need another big man off the bench. And I'll tell you right now, the New York Knicks will need another big man off the bench. So Leon Rose's decision on what's going to happen with the trade market directly is impacted by if Shamet and Robinson can come back and be fully healthy. The team is better with Mitchell Robinson. It has been forever since Mitch got here. And frankly, Landry Shamet's one of the better players you're going to be able to find. So hopefully what happens is the Knicks do find a way to get back and get things rolling there. Mitch is an important part of this team, so the Knicks do need Mitchell Robinson to return. When Mitchell Robinson was last healthy for the first 21 games of last season, he put up 6 points with 10 rebounds per game and 1.5 steals and blocks, while leading the NBA in offensive rebounds at 5.8 per game, while still being a good defensive rebounder too. Now, Mitch just solves so many problems for the New York Knicks. He gives them rim protection and he gives them rebounding. The Knicks are low in rebounds per game. They're in the bottom 5 this year. They're fifth. They have the 5th least rebounds per game. The Knicks are usually a very good rebounding team, and despite the fact that Karl Anthony Towns is averaging 13 rebounds per game and that Josh Hart's over 8 rebounds, the rest of the team is not pulling the ball down effectively, and having Achiuwa back should help, but Precious Achiuwa was not rebounding the ball very well last night, and he's been yet to really get his legs back under him fully, but once he does, I do think Precious will have a very positive impact on this team, and then once Mitch comes back, the rebounding will shoot right up, because you get Mitchell Robinson's rebounding, you have Towns' rebounding, you have Josh Hart, you have Precious there most likely, unless he gets moved. So it's going to be interesting to see what the New York Knicks go out there and decide to do. So it all kind of comes back on the point of the Knicks. They're going to need a thicker rotation, and Tom Thibodeau is refusing to do that. So Leon Rose is going to have to decide what he wants to do. Does he want to make a move for a big man if it's unclear if Mitchell Robinson's going to be healthy? I mean, the trade deadline's in middle February. It seems like Mitchell Robinson's first game this season might not be until February. So that does not give the Knicks a lot of time to decide on Mitch, and he's not going to be able to shake the rust off by the time there's the trade deadline. So this puts Leon Rose in a very, very interesting situation on what his plans are, what he's going to do. And I think with Mitch coming back, it feels like the most likely outcome of this is you trade Precious for a more real big man, or you put Precious in the starting lineup, you move Josh Hart to the bench, and you have Mitch come off the bench as well, and then you run a 5-man rotation, or if Shamet doesn't come back, you do Deuce, Payne, Hart, and Mitch off the bench, and it becomes a very interesting bench unit. The Knicks have some ways to make this team better, but right now they're underperforming, and they're going to have to figure out a way to play better basketball as they are into the point of the season where it's been 25 games. They're 15-10, which is good, but they're supposed to be better than this, and I do think Mitchell Robinson coming back will help them go on one of those win streaks, like when they make a trade halfway through the season, and they get a guy who fits perfectly. I think Mitchell Robinson fits perfectly with the New York Knicks, so I do trust that if Mitch comes back, that'll help a lot, but it's going to be interesting to see what Leon Rose decides to do with this, and it also just falls back on whatever the Knicks are going to do with Landry Shamet. So here's the thing. Tibbs will play Landry Shamet if Shamet's healthy. He loved Shamet. Shamet's going to be in the rotation. There's no doubt about it. He'll be there with Cameron Payne, Deuce McBride, and the big man, whether it's Mitch or Precious or maybe both. We'll see what the New York Knicks have to do. So it kind of predicates on when Shamet's going to be back, and it sounds like Landry Shamet's going to be back sooner rather than later. So if Shamet can come back sometime this month or early in January, what we'll see is we'll see him pretty quickly get integrated into a role with the Knicks where he's playing important minutes for the team as one of the key scorers off the bench. Now, outside of that, we'll then see, we'll see a problem get solved for the Knicks, because the Knicks' two biggest problems right now are they need rim protection, or their biggest problems, their three biggest problems are they need rim protection, they need rebounding, and they could use an extra scoring punch off the bench. The Knicks want to see if they can figure this out in-house between Landry Shamet and Mitchell Robinson, as Mitchell Robinson also solves this problem, as you get Shamet scoring, you get Mitch's rim protection and rebounding. It solves your three biggest team needs, and then you'll see a different New York Knicks team that has acquired two players from their injury list that fit the team perfectly and will be able to help the team out a lot. Now, maybe the Knicks still make a trade and get some more effective Mitchell Robinson insurance, we'll call it, just because, I mean, it's not that Precious is ineffective, but he's kind of a tweener, and he might be able to get the job done. Maybe the Knicks will trade Jericho Sims for another cheap contract or something like that, but the Knicks don't have a lot of money to work with Jericho Sims, and with Precious, they have the $6 million, then maybe they package them both for Nick Richards and something else in the process, or they just take the open roster spot and then go out there and sign maybe a forward like a TJ Warren. And it would be an interesting thing to see the Knicks do, is now you have more real Mitchell Robinson insurance. You have a guy who could take over for Mitchell Robinson once the Knicks evidently trade him next season, or next summer. So it becomes an interesting situation of what really happens with Mitchell Robinson and what really happens with the New York Knicks going forward. But the Knicks are going to need to do something. Despite the fact that the Knicks are good, they are not NBA Finals level good at this moment. So they're going to need Shamet back. They're going to need Mitchell Robinson back. And if they can get one of these two guys back, hopefully both of them pretty soon. Mitch, it sounds like it's going to be February, which sucks because we're not going to have a real read on if he's fully healthy or not, or if he's going to be rusty or come back as the same player after multiple stress fractures. So we're going to have to see how this works out, but we'll be reporting on it, and we'll see if the Knicks go out there and make some moves, and we'll definitely report on those. So make sure to subscribe if you guys like the content. Have a great day, guys. Go Knicks.